Wait.
Wait, I said
Is
what?
that a
Wait.
match coming soon? Wait, I want to see this. All right, so when is that game? That is next week Friday. that is
No.
that is
But nonetheless, welcome to the Challenges Korea podcast. My name is Takeoff, and as always, joining me to, I think that's technically, I don't know what, we had this discussion last time, but over here is Slothy.
yeah,
That's Slothy right
yeah,
there. I'm pointing towards him. How you
yeah,
doing, Slothy? When are you
yeah.
gonna get a
I'm
camera,
doing.
man? We gotta see that face.
I don't know, dude. Probably when I shave, I'll go get a camera.
I
No,
mean,
I have to.
I'm not
Yeah,
shaving over here.
yeah,
I need to shave.
yeah,
I need to like get my neck beard though. It's getting too. I need to
yeah.
get that. That's starting to
I
bother me.
get
I
it
need to
trimmed
trim
up.
that down. Yeah. I need to get a
Yeah,
haircut in general. I think I want to like grow out my hair and go for like the James Harden hairstyle with like the head and the beard,
yeah.
like grow out the long beard and have like the mohawk with like the
Hell yeah.
side shape. Because it fit my
That's what I
hairline.
like to
Because
see,
my
dude.
hairline's getting real bad. It's getting bad, and
Yeah,
the only way to save it is to take the James Harden route and just cut that
yeah.
shit into a mohawk.
That's what I like to see. Yeah, like probably sometime soon.
Sloth
I'll just see when
Sahara.
I.
Sloth Sahara roasted your hairline. He's shivering. Slothy's scared of the hairline roast. Oh
Yeah,
no.
dude, dude, holy crap, dude. My even though I have long hair, dude, if I like pull it up or tie it up, dude, you
Yeah.
can land a plane on my forehead. Like holy crap. Like, dude,
I
they
think
call
of
me the air they
when
call me the aircraft carrier.
the
Yeah, what's up?
aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Do they call you that because you carry pilot in your solo queue games too?
No, they call me that because I'm constantly yeah, they call me that. I can't even think of a good one right now. They just call me the aircraft carrier. I'm not on. I'm not on the spot for that one because
Well,
unfortunately today I'm I'm not drinking the unofficial sponsored drink.
unofficial hot six sponsor. You didn't pick
The
up some
unofficial
hot
no
six on the way home
no
from
no
work?
because no I picked up because they just came out with a new monster flavor in Korea. It's
Oh
called
my
Ultra
god.
Paradise, and it's this lot in like
You're
so. I'm gonna describe the taste to you with one word, and you're gonna be like, okay, I know what it is. Are you ready?
ready.
Green.
Yuck. Is it sour apple?
Yeah, it's just like green.
Yuck. Yuck.
Oh, well, they just came out with it, so I had to try it, man. But
Uh,
it's green.
I have Red
So
Bull today. Um,
yeah,
I meant to buy 20 ounces of sugar for
yeah,
Red Bull, but I haven't had
yeah,
regular Red Bull in so long, like in years probably. I've only had
yeah,
sugar-free Red Bull because it's
yeah.
I don't know. I don't like consuming too much sugar, and there's a lot of sugar in a Red Bull.
Mhm.
But mm, mm.
This is this is what I like to see.
I'm all filled up. I'm ready to get started. Let's do it. So first off, Monster Energy has Halloween edition mango drink. Oh yeah, the pirate mango, is that what you're talking about? That shit bangs. But nonetheless, let's talk about the
yeah.
standings real quick before we get into it, so you get an idea before you see our terrible takes. Junior are still first place. They're at 6-1 with a +5 game differential. Austin Spear right behind them with +8. They're at 6-3,
Cool.
starting to sneak up on that first place spot. Right behind them at third place is Runaway at 5-3, a +3. Then we get to the
Mhm.
negative game score tier, which is ESC Shane at 4-4 at -1. OC Gaming at 3-5 at -3. Joining them is Elma Mystic at also 3-5 at -3. High Fresh Plate is 3-5 at -3
Oh,
as well.
mm,
So that's a three-way tie for fifth place. But at the very
yeah.
bottom of that is Griffin. They're at 2-6 with a -6, and
Mhm.
it's not looking good for them. And we are
Um,
kind of cheating because we're supposed to be recording this before today, but we're recording this after today. So we're kind of cheating because we already know what happened game one
yeah.
or on day
Yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, on day one. But nevertheless, I mean, like, we still have a lot to miss. But here's the good thing:
Okay, what's the good thing?
starting next week, we have 2 games of Jin Air every
Two
single
game.
week.
Oh yeah,
2 games.
you get
Two
you get
games.
your your daily dose of gin air. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah,
We got to have 2 Clad planes a week. That's pretty pog.
yeah, yeah.
Until
I mean,
they face Runaway or Jin Air
awesome.
or Austin Spear. Sorry, not Jin Air. They face
Let's see.
themselves.
Runaway is in week 8, and then Austin Spears in week 9. So we'll have to see.
We'll
We'll have
see.
to
We'll
see how
see.
that goes. It's gonna be start of August, but nevertheless, man, like
Now, I
a
do
lot of
want to.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
yeah. Like last week, a lot of stuff kind of happened in the in the league that was. I wouldn't say it's like too surprising, but we did see one surprising thing last week,
The sad
and that
plane.
was
The sad plane.
that was our first sad plane of the split, man. The first sad plane of the split.
I mean,
And
you can't win them all. You can't win them all.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. It wasn't just a sad plane. It was it
A
was like a
2-0.
depression. It
Yeah,
was a 2-0. It was a 2-0 depression plane, is what I'm
it
saying,
was a
man.
it was a rough 2-0. That was a rough game. Let me scoot over a little bit so I'm more in the center. That was a rough game for
Yeah.
Jin Air. It didn't look good at all for them. But
I
it,
yeah, I mean, like, I think we should delve into that. We should definitely be talking about why was it not their strongest support performance? Because you did see Yaharong on Champions that we have seen him just run away with games with
mhm.
and kind of take over, take control of the map, and just play very smart throughout the series. But they gave him his Panda and Zoe, and he still got stomped.
Yeah, so
So
my theory to their loss
yeah,
is what I've
yeah,
been saying was going to be the key to defeating Janair for a very long time, which is the better it's all about that bot lane gap. If you can find a
yeah.
way to play around your own team's bot lane,
Mm-hmm.
also, jungle gap is another thing, but it's really hard to jungle gap MC. Only one person can do that, and his
Yeah,
name is Muujin, but he sure as hell had that jungle gap. But nonetheless, that bot
mhm,
lane gap, it wasn't like the main part of why Jin lost, but it was a pretty big factor. Senan can only do so much with the ADCs that he's given. I used to think very highly of Light, and I thought okay of Rumor,
mhm,
but Light's been regressing.
yeah,
I'd be lying if I said he wasn't regressing. And he's not at
mhm,
that terrible tier yet,
mhm,
but he
yeah,
is at that can possibly be a liability tier, and we saw him be a liability in that match. And I think that
yeah.
along with Jungle Gap was probably were the two reasons why they
Mhm.
lost there.
Yeah, so I think one of the big thing was I want to double check which game it was. Yeah, so the big reason why they lost, uh, they lost game one
I think it was
was
game
like
one.
they
Yeah.
yeah game one. Yeah, well,
Well, they
game one
lost both
was
games. But
they lost game one, but the reason why they like lost game one is because they didn't pressure their strong points early on enough, despite having a better like jungle matchup later on. So So yeah, you did get a couple kills, but you gave up a bunch of objectives for that as well, and that kind of just led to um, Runaway coming back into the game. You see, like I don't know, like what's going on in a lot, and this isn't just an exclusively CK problem with leagues across the world. Um, they like people are getting to the point where they kind of like understand comps. They're like, all right, we cannot fight at this point in the game, and then they give up an objective, but then they don't try to trade something as in similar value, right? They don't try to like trade Rift Herald for like getting like 2 or 3 plates, right? They don't do these things across the map constantly, and I think that's where a lot of these teams are failing on. Um, and it's kind of hard to get locked down the enemy composition when it's the LeBlanc, Lee Sin, and Ezreal, and really your only source of engage is like a flash ultimate from like a Braum or like an Azir shuffle, right? Like it's
well, they have
kind of hard to get
Muji.
onto them.
The Volibear's engage is pretty
Yeah,
strong, especially because
yeah,
he had
yeah, yeah,
Deadman's strong
yeah,
engage.
yeah, yeah. Like you do have that possibility right there, but like I think that they also didn't play on the same page for what they needed to do for their team comp.
Mhm.
And when you have something like the Senna, especially in the position of ADC, you have to kind of take more prolonged fights and like kind of like you utilize your healing a lot more than a lot of other champions would. And unfortunately, Ezreal can just pump out the same amount, if not more damage and quicker. So
I so
and yeah,
I think getting more detailed into
mhm,
it. I think
mhm,
game one specifically, the problem for Janair
yeah,
was their
yeah,
composition, like you said,
yeah,
not a very strong one. I did bring up the point of Volibear being a strong engage tool, but I also forgot the
yeah, yeah.
biggest thing about Runaway's comp is their disengage or like their counter engage. You have the
Hmm.
Fiora parry. You have the
Hmm.
Dragon Strike from Lee Sin. You have the fact that
Hmm.
Okid and Mask can just jump away without using the Summoner spell if they get
Yep.
engaged on. And Set has
Mhm,
his W that just prevents him from dying. So that's a very
mhm,
strong composition against
mhm,
Jenner's composition. And um, and then you had game two, which
mhm.
was really interesting. It looked really good. You
Yeah.
know, you have the solid bot lane, Ash Braum.
Mhm,
You got the
yeah.
Zoe. You got Yaharong
Mhm,
Zoe. You got
mhm,
Unti
yeah, yeah,
on the Bear. You got a great
yep,
team fight comp. You have a lot of pick
yeah,
potential.
mhm,
And then randomly you throw in the Jace, which doesn't.
yeah,
And he did have a
yeah.
fantastic game, but I don't think the Jace was very fitting in that comp.
yeah, like it's really hard to say like what you're gonna do in that right there. We did see Mugen on stuff that he really accelerates on. Anything with very fast clears early on is something that he can just like play super well and just like run away and just I need to stop saying run away, but
Well, we can't help
he can
it.
just
We
take
can't
over the
help it.
game. Well, I mean, like he takes over the games with these, right? He plays a
Yeah.
lot of this Nidalee. His Lee Sin is fairly clean. He knows how to time his engages really well. And then he has something like the Nunu, which his clear speed is fairly fast, faster than the volley bears in for what you're trying to do if you're trying to gank. But I do see some of the merits of what Jin was trying to do in this situation right here. If you're running the Volibear jungle, you can start the machete and you can go buff, cromp, and then buff, and then gank top. And if he does that at the right time, Tana can snowball the game. But the problem was, even though that Tana was just destroying top lane on cooldown repeatedly, the rest of the map was losing out because of it. Huh. Oh.
Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, better AD carry wins. This Golden League of the golden rule in League of Legends. Well, the first rule is don't chase Singe, but the second one is better bot wins. Okay, that's the goal that always applies in League of Legends.
It does.
And never will not be true. Better bot always wins. Okay, it's why I win all my solo queue games because I'm the better bot. Okay.
True.
But something I do want to talk about in the note of better is which teams are better than which teams, and what better way to say that than a tier list.
Oh
Let's
man, a
take a look
tier
at this
list.
tier
Let's get it
list.
in there.
If you look on the that's the wrong visual. There we go. If you look on the left, you can see my tier list. If you look on the right, you can see Slothy's. I'll walk you through mine
Mhm.
first, and then I'll let Slothy walk you through his tier list. Although they're very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
On my tier list, S tier, Awesome Spear is my S tier team. A tier, I have Janair and then RunAway. B tier, I have ESC and OZ. C tier, I have High Fresh Blade Griffin. And sitting in D tier is Element Mystic. Slothy, why don't you walk them through your tier list?
All right, so I still have Janair fairly high up. I put him in the S tier, even though they just lost to Runaway 2-0. I do see this as a stepping stone, kind of like it's like a level check for them, right? They can use what they were trying out in these games, like like the composition, right? The composition of the second game, as we were talking about, it looks fairly solid on paper until you throw in that Jace. Maybe you can work around and find something else, and then start playing around through your bot side and start giving your bot side a little more of these values to kind of push forward in this game. Now, I do think that mid lane has a lot of priority in these matchups, and I think Yaharong is besides besides the unmentioned mid that we will talk about later. I think Yaorong is probably the best, if not one of the best, if not the best mid in the league currently. And I think if they are able to enable him to get to that bot lane and help out like the lanes that are kind of lacking a bit more, I think they can stay in this S tier position while the rest of the teams will kind of start to take a lay side to the A tier. Now, the other two A tiers are very pretty self-explanatory for what we saw recently. Um, we do see Runaway with a lot of hot games. They've had a couple of cold moments, and it's on these games where Mugen isn't able to take over the game from the early game and push forward onto it, or maybe like mid lane gets shut down super early and they don't have any like contingency plan in their draft to allow mid to find an opening back into the game. Um, Austin Spear has just been playing super hot lately, and with the addition of Septed, they've looked a little bit stronger. I would say. I wouldn't say that he's been the best player, but he does seem a little bit stronger than Crow in some of his mechanics. Now we have Alls Gaming and we have Element Mystic sitting around at the B tier right now. I think Alls Gaming is going through they're going through a bit of a slump right now, but I think that part of it is again what we're talking about is just like the constant roster um rotating in and out. And if they were to just buckle down, select one pair of mid jungle and just start playing them constantly, I think they would see more consistent improvement and more consistency in their play. Um, Element Mystic, I put them a little bit. Even though they're what we would consider probably like they're very close to
This
being
is where
the
this is where hold on, wait. This is where I got a buddy.
yeah
This is where I have
yeah
this is where I have the most beef with your tier list.
yeah. I know.
Listen,
Mhm.
going into week 6, they had the
Yeah.
longest loss streak. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
he
Yeah.
lost 3 matches in a row, and
Mhm.
one of those losses, Slothy. I don't know if you've been watching CK, but Griffin
I
is
have
not a
it was
very
Griffin.
Griffin is not
They're
a very good team.
they,
Let me tell
no,
you
they
that.
aren't. Yeah.
And,
But
and they lost to Griffin. They not
yeah.
just lost, they got reverse swept by Griffin, Sloppy.
Yeah.
They got
Yes,
reverse
I know.
swept.
I am aware.
That
Now let me
I don't I
let
I
me talk
have
about this.
I don't
Let me talk about this
understand.
right here. Yeah, I mean, like here, let me talk about this, man. You're just flaming it. Let me talk about it for a second. All right. So here's the thing. They do have a lot of potential in their jungler. And if they start giving their jungler a lot of the resources to enable the rest of the map, that's when they've seen the most success in their games. Although, like we see these like really strange drafts coming out for Element Mystic, right? Where they're drafting like 280 carries and like no form of like CC or like very safe disengage, right? Um, well, that one specifically into ESC Shane the other day. Um, and I think part of it, again, it's not necessarily a lot on the players in some of this regard. I think a lot of it is just like what they're given in the draft. I think Element Mystic, when it comes down to it, they have 2 or 3 decent players that can keep them into that B tier list if they provide them with the right tools and start like recognizing the win conditions in their composition, right? If you're playing this stuff and then you're drafting like a Nico top and then you're like not looking for team fights constant. You're not looking for the team fights and you're trying to like keep the Nico inside like it's just not going to work. But I think that Element Mystic as a whole has a larger problem at hand. I think some of it is not all of it is on like what is being put into them through like coaching staff and that sort of thing, but some of it has to definitely be through um I guess like what they're playing. Now they really need to just do a couple things and they could maintain that B spot. So I'm gonna defend it and say that they're staying around this B tier for the time being until they drop more.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me give
Yeah.
you my
Yeah.
reason for why I put Element Mystic so low. So let me wind back the clock. Okay, we're gonna talk about spring season. Okay, going
We're
into
talking
the
about season. Yeah.
spring season, they
Yeah.
finished the regular season. They were fourth
Yeah.
place. They were matched up against
Yeah.
Dynamics. Obviously, not a favorable
Yeah.
matchup, but you would
Mm-hmm.
expect them to at least perform to a decent level. They suffered
Mm-hmm.
the fastest loss in Challengers Korea playoff history. No team had ever lost that quickly. Dynamic speed ran through them like little curves speed runs through Mario Maker levels, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely demolished. I think Frosty has this.
Yeah.
Leave Frosty alone. Why are you bullying Frosty? But anyway,
Yeah.
so Elva Mystic, their confidence is at an all-time low. But also on the other
Mm-hmm.
side, Dynamics get promoted
Mm-hmm.
into LCK, Soda
Mm-hmm.
Bowl disband, and
Yeah.
Breon Blade implode their roster. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't know it at the time, but now we've learned that it's an implosion on their roster. It's a very inferior roster. We kind of knew that it was a downgrade, but we didn't think it'd be as big as a downgrade as we thought. So in theory, Element Mystic haven't changed their roster.
Mm-hmm.
They are set up to be the best team in CK. They have been perfectly set up in this situation to be the best team in CK. And they
Mm-hmm.
come now. We go back a little bit. We go to summer week 1. They have a really good debut. They 2-0 RunAway.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on in the week, they lose 0-2 to Element Mystic. Okay, that's okay. Rough start. You beat ESC, but then you lose to Jenner. Okay, that's okay. Jenner was the best team. You can lose to them. They 2-0 Breon, or High Fresh, I should say. Sorry. Good stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
then they lose 0-2 to Awesome Spear. That's okay. It happens. Then they lose 2-1 to Griffin. That's when it gets a little yikes. And then they
Yeah.
lost
Yeah.
2-0 to ESC. And now they got to go back tomorrow and play High Fresh Blade. We don't even know if we can beat them anymore because of how much they're slumping. The reason why I put them so low is because they've had
Mm-hmm.
such high expectations set for them by
Yeah.
myself, by
Mhm.
you, by Quest, by everybody that
Mhm.
watches CK. We all expected Element Mystic
Mhm.
to at the least, be a playoff team again, and they're sitting at
Mhm.
fifth place at a three-way tie for fifth place right now, and especially with the fact that they've been set up to be the first place team, like
Mhm.
that I just this is a very bad look for them. They and I think a
Yeah.
big part of that, like you said, is the fact that a lot of their drafts are really wonky. I don't think that they're drafting any. I don't think I've seen them draft a composition that makes sense since week 2. That was the last time they drafted something. I was like, okay, this is a pretty good draft. Their draft is not looking good at all, in my opinion. Now,
Mhm.
I think that's easy to repair. Element Mr. Coaching staff just needs to take a step back and look at it. I mean, their coach is, if I'm not mistaken, is Gizmo, between because I think Kage is still over at ESC. I think Gizmo is their coach,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Gizmo drafted some pretty insane compositions for Sotable. He had a really he was
Mhm.
draft kingdoming over at that team.
Mhm.
I don't know what's happened to him in between then and now, but it's not looking good for him.
Mhm.
And I just think
Well,
that with everything set up, you have the first place coach. All the other
yeah.
good teams have either disbanded or imploded. You're set up to be the best team, and you do the exact opposite and end up being one of the worst teams. I just think
Mhm.
it's been a very, very, very underwhelming season from Elma Mystic, and I don't see a way for them to bounce back from this momentum, this kind
Mhm.
of negative momentum that they have.
To be fair, I did not place them into playoffs. In our original drafting, I did not put them in the playoffs, to be fair. So they're playing more on expectation of where I was, where they can realistically get back to like fifth place. I still see them as somewhere that can a team that can get back to the middle of the pack. Um, is it going to be rough? Oh yeah, it's still going to be rough. I mean, like if you have the season that you're having right now, it's going to be pretty rough. But what I see week 8, they can kind of like make their comeback. They're playing against Griffin. They're playing against Oz. They should be able to, I guess, salvage some of the losses in the season. And keep in mind too, they did replace Shark halfway through the season, putting in MV a lot more. So we'll have to see.
The other thing that another thing that I have beef with
Yeah,
you about is that S tier spot. Let's talk
the
about
S
that
tier
next.
spot.
The S tier spot.
Whoa, we didn't finish. We didn't finish. Why ESC Shane is on B tier for you, but C tier for me.
I mean, it's basically the same. Let's be real. B tier, C tier,
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
let's be real,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. Okay.
I put them in B tier because High Fresh
Yeah,
and Griffin aren't as impressive looking compared to
yeah.
ESC. I think ESC have
Yeah.
more potential with their
Mm.
roster than High Fresh and Griffin do. I think Griffin pretty
Yeah.
much have at this point, especially after watching them lose to RunAway today,
Mhm.
they got the shovel. They
Mhm.
went to Home
Yeah.
Depot. They got that
Yeah.
shovel. They went back home. They started digging
Yeah.
up that hole, and they just threw
Mhm.
their chances of making playoffs right into there.
Mhm.
No, I mean they still have
That's
a
good.
chance. Technically, they still have a chance. I think starting Gideon would be a good start. I think they should have tried to get Sword back into the roster for the second round robin. They didn't, which makes me think that he's not going to come back because I don't think you
Mhm.
can make changes. I don't think you can make changes. Oh no, you can. I've seen teams
Yeah.
add players to their roster in the middle of it.
Yeah, we like Crown
Yeah,
last
like
year.
Crown. Yeah, but Crown that's different because he had to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. And that would have been unfair if
Yeah,
they
that's
would have.
true.
But well, you
That's
never
true.
know.
That's
I
true.
think, but they
Well,
no
I mean,
Element,
if you,
but Element Mystic or
mhm.
and OZ both picked up junglers in the middle of the split.
Mhm.
So I think you can do
Yeah.
that. I don't think it's like LCK where you have to do it every round robin. But nonetheless, I think if Griffin put in Gideon to start
Mhm.
and they bring in Sword,
Mhm.
I think they have a chance to at least be fourth place. But
Mhm.
as far as they're going now, they're not looking like a playoff team at all.
Mhm.
I love Nahun and I want to
Mhm.
cheer for him as much as I can, but I would be lying to that man if I told him he had a chance to make playoffs as of right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Now, um, but I do want to get to this Jenner Austin Spear.
Oh, yeah, Junior
I do
Austin
want
Spear.
to give my point first of Austin Spear being a first place team. So my thing
Yeah,
about
go for it.
Austin Spear being a first place team is the fact that they've now won 6 games. Well, as of
Mhm.
as of when I first made the tier list, it was 5. Now it's 6, so it further proves my
Mhm.
point. They've won 6 matches in a row. All of them have been
Mhm.
2-0s. Over the last 7 matches
Wait, wait, wait,
now,
wait, 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 wait.
hmm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
over the last 7 matches, they have a 13-2 record game score. That is insane. I have not seen a team have this dominant of a stretch. The Griffin's
Mhm.
first run in CK, whenever they had the perfect
Mhm.
match record, and then they were able to move on to LCK. I've not seen a team this dominant since that, and maybe before then CJ and like ESS whenever they had Kuzan Jisoo. But nonetheless, the point is, every year we have a team that's really dominant. Every split, I should say. Last split we had Soda Balls, but before that we had Dynamics, but before that we had ESS. But before that, we had Damwon. But before that, we had Griffin, CJ, blah, blah, blah. We can go back and back and back. And I think this split, that team, I thought was going to be Jin Air. But it looks like it's going to end up being Austin Sphere because they've been winning. Like I said, 6-2-0s in a row is absolutely insane. I think, and not only that, they've improved their roster after their 5-2 or their 4-2-0s. And they have Septed in the mid lane, who's, like we said, is a clear upgrade. Zeus is playing Thresh. Their teams are allowing Zeus to pick Thresh more and more, which is a big problem. And I don't think that any team's going to be. I hate to say it, but with the way that teams are drafted, I don't think any team's going to be smart enough to start banning that Thresh away from him. There's a reason why for the first round robin and BBQ was 100% ban rate against them. He's one of the best Thresh players in Korea. Period.
That's true.
And you have Prince, who's the best ADC in CK. You have.
Wait a minute.
Wait, Pilot. I forgot about Pilot. Second.
No. I just want to go back and say you just said it right there. You flamed me last week for saying that he's the best ADC in CK.
No,
and you of course dug into me.
I said Pilot.
I know you said Pilot. I know, but right now you just said Prince. I just want to go back and say this. I want to bring this up right here. I'm bringing it to the chopping block. I'm busting your chops on this one.
Oh, actually, on the tier list, on the tier list, I did put Prince over Pilot, so I will say that. But literally, all I'm saying is, you swap. All I'm saying is, if you swap Prince with Pilot, I'm saying,
okay.
Austin Sphere are undefeated if you have Pilot on that team. They're undefeated if you have Pilot on that team.
Okay. I'm just busting your chops, but I just had to do it for.
I will say, as of week 4, whenever we did record that, I don't. As of that moment at week 4, I did not think that he was either way was better than Pilot. Now I will say that he's better, but only because he has a better team around him and he's allowed to look better. I will say that.
Yeah. There's a lot of instances where he could take games and play through it, but we also saw recently a couple of the game like I said, dude, the Kalista play. His Kalista play kind of convinced me right there. Like that level of like I guess like it was more mechanical prowess at that point.
If Pilot had Zeus, oh boy, OZ's a whole different beast. If they had Zeus,
I can attest to that.
That's all
I can attest to that.
But nonetheless, what was the final point that I was going to make? You distracted me. God damn it. Oh, right, jungle. So basically,
jungle.
They have top 3 players at every single position, except for top lane. Top lane is their weak point, but Chasey's not a bad top laner, and that's the scary part is that their weak point is top lane, and he's not a bad top laner. He's actually an okay top laner. That's really scary about Austin Sphere. Now, if you look at Jin Air and you look at their weak points, you see that Umti, not the best jungler. He's up there, not the best jungler in CK though. You look at their ADC position. They have mediocre ADCs. Senon has to do a lot of work in that bot lane.
Yep.
And you look at Tana, not very consistent. Not very. Sometimes most of the time he's playing well, but sometimes he has those low games, and those low games shouldn't be happening as often as they do. But sometimes they do, and that's why I think at least Austin Sphere is better than Jin Air. All those reasons, but I want to hear your reason. I think you already said your reasoning actually earlier.
I did say that.
Do you want to go into it again?
No, I want to like go into like this sort of thing. I think that Tana has the ability to kind of carry games, except when he's playing Jace. I don't want to see him play. I don't want to see him I don't want to see them put that Jace in that composition again. He performed fairly well.
They might as well just put early game champions around the board and win the game in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, also one of the problems was he got killed early on. He got killed early on in lane too.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Matchup that you should be winning, but I think that when he's playing more bruisery champions rather than the harass heavy champions, when he's on stuff like the Aatrox, he normally performs very well. When he plays the Wukong, I think out of everyone, I think he has the best Wukong in CK at this point.
Oh yeah, he lets it rip with that Beyblade, man.
Yeah. So I think that when it comes down to these teams right here, it's it's like uh it's a stylistic choice. The reason why I put Jenner into the S tier and like that is because I want to keep Jenner as like the crowning point for like what we need to compare to. Um, but in terms of like teams that are close, Runaway Austin Fear are very close to where they need to be. And that's not to say Jenner is without fault. Jenner does have things that they can do it. To be honest, if I could have, I would have put none of them in S tier. I would have just put them
What?
all in A tier.
Nah.
No, I would have put them in A tier. I don't think.
I,
I don't think.
I,
Yep.
I agree to disagree
Yep.
on that one. I think it's pretty clear that
Uh,
Austin Spear is like the
yep.
leading pack, but I agree to disagree on
Yep.
that one.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely do turn around. I think that if they tighten down their top lane position, Austin Spear, I think they definitely have that S tier secured over Jin. So yeah,
Man, I think JC's okay. I think
yeah,
he's pretty good.
he's okay.
I'd probably say second best top laner in CK.
Really,
Yeah, I
really.
mean, who's over him? We'll talk about that later because I have
We'll
position.
talk about
I
that
have
later.
player.
Yeah,
I have player tier list. I've made some
yeah,
player tier list.
yeah. You made your player tier list. We'll talk about that one bit. Yeah, yeah,
But nonetheless, let's talk about one more
yeah.
thing on the note of teams, which was
Mm-hmm,
wrong visual. There we go. I think we were going to talk about it was Element
mm-hmm,
Mystic and OZ
mm-hmm,
Game, right? Yeah, those are the two things we were going to talk about because
mm-hmm.
we were talking about Element Mystic earlier. We already talked about Element Mystic.
Oh
Let's talk
man.
about OZ some. They're not looking too hot. They're not looking too hot at all. They
Yeah.
before we made the tier list, we're on a 2 match loss streak. Now after their loss today,
Mm-hmm,
they're on a 3 match loss streak. They're at the same level as Element Mystic now. They have the same game record. They have the game match,
mm-hmm,
same match record.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Everything's identical with these teams. They have the see even the
mm-hmm,
same game score, 8 and 11.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Um.
my question is
Mm-hmm,
to you, Slothy. Of the
mm-hmm.
two teams between Element Mystic and Oz Gaming, which team do you feel like is under more pressure to start performing at a higher level?
Um.
Because
I
you have
think
them in the same tier. You have them in B. I want to
I've
hear
done
it.
both in the deer. I think Oz Gaming definitely Oz have a more agency to perform, or I guess more of a need, more of a requirement to start playing better. You have a lot of big name player, or I guess like people that have a lot of experience in the league on that team that need to kind of like show that get they can provide the knowledge that they have of this game to people that are just coming up. You have Coach Mahad, who used to be a fairly, I mean, he
Or
wasn't like
he was a well
amazing.
respected coach in
Yeah, he's a well
LCK at one
respected.
point.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And then you have Pilot and Eon and Crown, which have been names since I've been in since fo- since I even started playing the game back in like 2000, like 2013, 2014. Man,
Mhm.
these names have been around for a while, man. So these are the people that need to kind of step up in this sort of thing. Or if you look at kind of Element Mystic roster, these are all relatively younger players. I think the oldest one on the team is Slugger, who was born in 1998, but everyone else is like they're millennia. They're born in like 2000 lower, man.
Mhm.
So yeah, they got a relatively young roster, whereas yeah, the rest of the team is pretty old. Yeah.
I think personally that Elma Mystic are under more pressure to perform. Um,
Hmm.
I think OZ's losses are excusable in my
Yeah.
opinion. They're losing to teams that
Hmm.
they should be losing to. Like if
Hmm.
you look at their matches, well, I mean they shouldn't have
Yeah.
lost to High Fresh Blade, but at this point it's apparent
Hmm.
that they're equals. They have the same record. They lost to
Yeah.
Jin Air. They beat
Hmm.
Runaway. That's something
Hmm.
I want to point out. They beat Runaway. They've beaten good
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
Oz Gaming. They lost to Griffin, which was kind of a yikes, but that was early on in the season.
But
Oz hasn't figured themselves
yeah.
out yet. I excuse a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Oz's losses tied
Yeah.
to the fact that they're playing better teams, but they didn't figure out their roster yet. Now they're at their point, and now that they're at
Yeah.
their point, they
But
faced Awesome Spear, which isn't really a
yeah.
good test. They face
Hmm.
Griffin later this week. They face Runaway, Genera. It's going to be tough. But then the rest of the season, week 8
Hmm.
and out,
Hmm.
should be all games that they're going to win. I think that it's easy writing for them. Now, if you look at the side of Element Mystic,
Hmm.
they've been doing pretty poorly for a
Hmm.
long time now, and they have a pretty rough
Hmm.
schedule ahead of them. High Fresh Blade,
Hmm.
they should beat them. Hopefully, they've beaten them before. But then they have Runaway, then they have Awesome Spear, then they have Griffin, who they just lost to. Then they have Oz Gaming, who is kind of like their equal. Then they have Jin Air to close out the season. I think that Element Mystic are under a lot more pressure to perform. Also, they're one of the only
Mhm,
teams that hasn't made changes to either their playstyle or their roster.
mhm,
From after week three. After week three, every
mhm,
team seems to have made changes to either their roster or their playstyle.
mhm.
And Element Mystic haven't done that. And I already told you earlier why I put Element Mystic in D tier, and so I'm not going to go into
Yeah,
that
yeah,
again. But taking that
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
consideration, along with the fact that their
Yeah.
schedule
Mhm,
looks really
mhm,
rough,
mhm,
uh, like they have a longer streak of rough matches than Oz Gaming do.
mhm,
I think that they're under more pressure to start changing their playstyle or maybe even bringing in someone else into the roster. I don't know. Looking at the roster, I couldn't really tell you where to make changes. I think bot lane is the obvious, but I think pretty much
mhm.
I don't think anyone's safe from being benched. I'm gonna be real. I don't think anyone on the Element Mystic roster is safe from a bench.
Flare.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe Flair is safe from being benched, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
because on the bench you have Ganknom, and Ganknom is really
Random.
good. I don't think he deserves
Yeah.
that bench spot, so I don't think he's safe either. I don't I all bets
Oh,
are off.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Gangnam is really good, but I think that Flair is the person that they can kind of reform the roster around if they do decide the need to. I think he is a very young upstart jungler. He needs a little bit more time. He needs a little bit more patience in his play because a lot of times we've seen him pull the trigger a little bit too early in the games, and then it ends up being like a snowball effect. And with a little more like control of what he's trying to accomplish on the map and a little more understanding on that, I think he can actually perform very well. So I don't think that and who knows, like we don't know, like with like franchise and everything, maybe the reason why Element Mystic didn't do it is because that they are going to partner with LCK team already and kind of make form that I guess combination, that conglomerate, right?
Mhm.
um so we'll have to see uh how they kind of move on through there. Yeah.
We'll see. But last off, the last tier list we're gonna talk about is the
But
player tier.
wait, but
Wait, what?
the thing
What?
here's the thing I want to talk about right here. Besides Griffin.
What the hell? 1 second.
Oh,
Why is? Never mind. Sorry. Continue.
yeah,
I don't know why, but
yeah.
the the the, the Google Home is just randomly telling me facts about Avatar. But go ahead.
Yo, dude, it heard Element Mystic, and it's just like, wait a minute, Elements, Master of all four, Avatar. All right, let's go. No, we have
I'll be right back. But go ahead.
so quick runaway fact. they only they lost to all of the 3 and 5 teams right now. Those are the only teams that they lost to.
Say what?
Runaway only lost to the 3 and 5 teams.
Uh, wait.
Take
What?
a look at the standings. Take a look at the standings. All the 3 and 5 teams, those are the teams Runaway lost to.
Oh, that's what you said. Okay. I think said they only lost to 3 of the 5 teams. I was like, but there's
Yeah, no, 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 no.
7 other teams in CK. That math doesn't add up.
No, teams that are currently the teams that are currently 3 and 5.
I think I attribute their losses to the fact that they were a newer roster. They had to figure stuff out, and Mujin was now that they're giving Mujin more responsibility in the drafts. I think it's better. But
Nah, dude, they're just prone to losing to 5th place teams.
maybe who knows? Who knows? But
That's the thing. Yeah,
let's let's talk about player tier list now. If you're ready to talk about player tier
I'm
list.
I'm ready to just like delve into what yours is. So go ahead.
All right. So
Let's get it
first, we're gonna talk about top lane. Uh, oh, I gotta zoom in on that. You guys can see that. Let me get that
on.
out of there.
Yeah.
So, hey, there we go.
Hmm.
Zoom in a little bit more. There it is. We got Tana and S tier, JC and Lapis in the A tier, Sword and Slugger, Blast and
Hmm.
Crown G snaring that spot right there in B tier. C tier, Wiser, D tier, Hoya, and I put Oscar and you because I had not seen enough of him, but he didn't. Because like he looked good, but he looked bad at the same time. But he had a very small sample size, so I give him the benefit of the doubt and I put him in unknown.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you have any?
That's definitely.
What do you got? What do you got any objections, or do you overall agree with this?
I would switch Lapis and Chassis. I think that a lot of the losses for Element Mystic, and like there's other reasons why they lose, but like the people that have the ability to carry the game or being given the tools
Wait,
to
wait,
carry
wait,
the
wait.
game,
For Elma Mystic.
or chassis.
Ch-
Oh no, not Element Mystic. I'm sorry. Gosh, Awesome Sphere.
There you go. That's a little
Yeah, there we go.
better.
Oh, good.
I mean, to
But
be fair though, they lost at the beginning of the
yeah,
season. That
yeah,
was when Chasey just roll
yeah.
swapped.
Yeah. I mean that's true, but I think that Lapis has a lot of his fundamentals down a little bit better. I think that I think they would probably be closer to equal than that right there. I'd put them both at that second tier right there.
Uh,
That's the only change I would make, to be honest.
I think if you ban
Uh,
Aatrox, Loctus drops down to B tier, and that's why I put him less than Chasey.
mm,
But let's. I already. Oh my goodness, this is. There we go.
mm.
I already know you agree with this one, but I'm gonna read. I think you said you agree with this one, but I'll let you look at it
Oh,
again just in
I
case you want
agree
to
with
change.
this one full heartedly, man.
Yeah, Muujin,
Full
greater than
heartedly.
Crush for S tier, then Flare for A tier, B tier is Broccoli, then Juhan, then Mighty Bear, C tier is Citrus over Kroko, D tier, sitting by himself is Leah, and no one in the unknown tier.
No, the only thing I would change is if you put Citrus on Kane, he goes to B tier.
Oh yeah,
Silly thing.
Citrus's Kane goes to B tier.
Yeah, goes to B tier, but
Everything
yeah,
else is C tier.
yeah,
But next
yeah,
up,
yeah.
it's going to be the mid lane. This might be where we have some disagreements. Wait, why is this?
Um,
Let me slowly. There we go. S tier, I have Nahun. A tier, I have Yaharong, then Eon, then Mask. B tier, I
mhm,
have Scarlet, then Edge, then Crow. C tier, Fire Rain, then Roy. D is
mhm,
Crown. And unknown is
mhm,
Scepted, though after today, I'd probably put Scepted at a solid like A over Mask.
yeah,
Or, yeah,
yeah,
over Mask, I'd say.
yeah. I mean, we have. I would move Yaharong up to the S tier. Um, I move him up to the S tier, but behind Nahyun still. I think that
Uh,
I think he plays a lot better than Mask and Ian. So I don't think they belong in the same tier together. Yeah, like you did
oh,
notify that
shit.
he's there. I just think that like
Oh, wait, no, what? Hold on
um
1 second.
yeah
But like, if you look at
yeah
if you look at my
yeah
other A tiers, like I have Tana as
yeah
my top lane, and then Muujin Crush as my jungle. Like it's the Turbo Smurfs, and like
it is yeah it's a turbo switch.
Yaharong is smurfing, but he's not
Mhm.
turbo smurfing. He's not turbo smurfing like
Well
Nahun is.
I mean like Nahyun yeah he's doing good. He's doing a lot of good things on the Griffin roster. I think that Nahyun I think that like he's just making a best of a bad situation. And I think that given uh like provided with other players, I think he'd be in the same position as Yaharong. I don't think Yaharong could do what Nahyun's doing, but I think Nahyun could be in the same position as Yaharong. I think Yaharong, on the other hand, though, I think he brings a different style to um I guess to the board. Nahyun is well, on the Griffins wins, he was really smart about playing with his engage, like when to kind of pick fights. I think Yaharong is just good at like taking advantages early on, and I think that's kind of what leads to a lot of his victories. So I put him still in the S tier.
Yeah, I think they're both fantastic mid laners. But the
Yeah,
thing that makes me put Nahun up there by himself, I talked about
is that
this beforehand. He
is that he's playing on Griffin?
what? Yeah,
Is the
he's
fact that
playing.
he's playing
Yeah,
on Griffin right now?
he's playing on Griffin, but is still the
Mm-hmm.
best looking mid laner and
Mm-hmm.
still has the best stats of all the mid laners.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't happen, especially when you have players like let's say like Mask or Eon, for example, who have okay, or I think Mask is a better comparison, who's on
Yeah.
Runaway, the third best
Yeah.
team, but doesn't have the
Yeah.
third best stats, has like fourth, fifth best
Mm,
stats. But you have
yeah.
Nahun, who's on the
Mm-hmm.
last place team
Team.
and has the first best stats.
Okay, but here's my contrary thing right there is if you have the best stats and you're on the 8th place team and you're doing this right here, what are you not doing in game to kind of provide for your team?
I can answer that. It's called better team wins. It's really that simple. I don't know if you've ever played League of Legends before, Slothy, but it's a five
No,
versus five game.
it
If
is.
you
It
have
is.
four
It is.
teammates
Mhm.
that are just not playing at the
Mhm.
same level as you, you're gonna have
Yeah.
a bad time. That usually tends to happen in League of
Hmm.
Legends.
Hmm. True.
It's a 5v5 game, and I tell people this in solo queue all the time, and they're like, "Oh, I beat you in lane," but it doesn't matter. It's a 5v5. Your team
Yeah.
lost, you lost the game. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Slothy. It don't
Yeah.
matter. It don't matter that he's winning lane and almost winning the game. He has four
Hmm.
teammates that are not playing well,
Hmm.
and it's hard to win. If you
Hmm.
look at his lane stats, he's leading in all the lane stats. He's winning lane every time, despite sometimes being
Hmm.
counterpicked. Still winning these
Hmm.
lanes.
Hmm.
I don't
That's
know.
true. That's true.
I Nahun is just I think he's just turbo smurfing, very
Hmm.
turbo smurf. But is there anybody else that you just anything else that you disagree with on this list at all?
No, not really. No.
All right. So let's move on to the next one. That's not supposed to be the next one, but I guess it is. We'll talk about support. I
Nah.
guess. Why is that there? It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be talking about
Mm.
AC. There we go. That's what we want to see. So this one might be now. No,
Uh,
you'll agree with this one because I put Prince over Pilot. Prince
oh
over
yeah,
Pilot
yeah.
and S tier. Oh, I put S kid. That's supposed to be a
That's
five.
good.
S kid.
Should be O kid. O kid. Um, I
O
put
kid.
Beanie over. I put Beanie in A tier.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I'll talk about that one later when we get to supports. But
Hmm.
I think being A tier is
Well,
a
I
bit
mean,
of a
like,
stretch. I think I am. I would like to put him. I'd like to redo that and put him over light. I think I would do that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
That's definitely
about.
one of.
I don't know if he's on the same level as Okin. I
Oh,
think that's unfair.
no, he's like an A minus, whereas O kid's probably like an A plus. To be honest.
I think
So
Beanie's like a B plus, a very
B
solid B
plus.
plus. But
All right.
I
Yeah.
misspelled Henna as well. Hana.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's Slothy that misspelled that. I mean not
Yeah.
Slothy. Frosty.
Yeah.
Frosty's the
Yeah.
one that wrote this. Let me say that he put
Yeah.
Hana instead of Henna and put Eskin instead of like.
Oh, sure. Okay. Now you're bringing Frosty into the mix, man.
Well, I mean he's the one that wrote this. But
Shh, I don't
I
want to
put
hear these
I put
excuses.
Henna overweight and I put Shark in D tier. Rumor I put in U because he's only played two
Yeah.
games of split.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
any other disagreements besides Beanie, which I'll get into when we get to supports?
I mean, I do think that Beanie, there's a lot of it because he does have what is probably one of the best. I'd actually put him as second best, but we'll talk about when we jump into it. Yeah, like you are gonna look better in that
Well,
situation,
how about
but
this? How about this, Slothy? How about this, Slothy? We'll jump
yeah,
into it right now, baby. We'll jump into it
we'll jump
right
into it
now.
right now. Yeah.
Let's
Well,
talk about this one. I have Zeus
okay.
set on Harp, S tier. A tier I have
Now,
Flume. B tier I have Minute Mode of Usin. C tier XQ. D tier Cars. No one in the U tier.
now. I mean, we did talk about this stuff. Okay, let me change that to yeah. So, here's the thing. In those, yeah, those two lanes that we are talking about, we're arguing about the light and beanie, the Senna and harp thing. Those two things, we are we are, I guess, kind of like bringing light to in this. Uh, those two lanes, if you do have the second best support in the thing, you expect to see a little bit more out of that in that position. Whereas like you have someone that isn't as strong as the other two supports, yeah, he can do very well. And they did play that fasting Senna very well that one game, the harp and Beanie. But it also goes to show that Beanie is a lot more versatile than some of the other ADCs we have in this league right here. We haven't seen other people kind of like pull out these, I guess, different champs in the bot lane um for these things. So I think that he definitely could go higher, but we'll have to see.
Now,
Yeah.
this might be news to you,
Yeah.
and I really hate to be the one
All right. All right. All
break
right.
the
Break it to
news,
me. Break the news.
but I don't know if you've heard,
Mm-hmm.
but Bear,
Yeah.
not a very hard champion to play.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if
Okay, there
you're,
you go.
but
There you
Volibear
go.
isn't very
Very
difficult.
not a hard champion to play. But here's I think that playing the strategy very well, but not just that, but to the extent of how well that they played it in that bot lane was just kind of incredible. So
I don't know, man.
I'd put
I'm not that
I'd
impressed with
put
someone
both
that can
the
play Volibear. That's just me.
yeah. I would well the thing is I would put both of the ESC players above the generic players in this regard here.
No, that's just your lot. No, 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 absolutely. No,
You're
Jenner's.
not gonna put hard for this
I
guy.
think Jenner's bot lane and ESC's bot lane are very similar,
Mhm,
but I think Xenon is better enough than Heart.
mhm,
And I think I would say that Beanie is very slightly better than Light, but not to the point where the support gap is not going to be a factor. Also,
mhm.
let me fact check this before I say anything. And I was right. You were talking about versatility.
Yeah.
Beanie, most unique champions played as an ADC.
Mhm.
Second place is 7 with Henna and Wayne. You know how much Beanie has played? You know how many champions Beanie has played at the ADC position?
How many?
He's played 10. 10 champions at the ADC position. That's a lot of champions.
Ooh,
That's a
that's
really diverse
spicy.
champion. That's a spicy champ pool right there. But
Yeah, man.
more doesn't always mean better. This isn't the Scarlet case where you can play a lot of champions and there's a lot of champions that are viable in the mid lane meta to the point where that becomes a threat. In the
Mhm.
ADC position, there's like 4 good ADCs. You got Aphelios, you got Ezreal, you got Ashe, and that's actually 3. Oh, yeah, Callisto, so that's 4. There's like four
Mhm,
good ADCs.
mhm,
Playing 10 means absolutely nothing if there's 4 good ADCs. Very rarely will you find all 4 of those ADCs banned, and if you do, you still like every ADC has like their fallback champion. Like you have Okid, he has his Jhin that he falls back on. Wayne, he has his Misfortune that he falls back on. Prince, I don't really. People keep giving him Aphelios and Ezreal, so I wouldn't really know what else he can play.
mhm.
Light has Varus, etc., etc. I can
Oh
go
no,
on.
Princess that Callista, man. Princess that Callista.
Yeah, but Callista's one of the 4 ADCs that's good.
Yeah, yeah. But then you also said like you have the Aphelios and Ezreal, which is what
Yeah,
he
I
plays
mean,
too.
yeah,
So,
you keep giving him Phelios and Ezreal, he's gonna keep
yeah,
winning. I mean, I guess you have
yeah,
Kaisa. He can play Kaisa. I think he played a Kaisa game,
yeah,
but
yeah,
anyway, um,
yeah.
the point is, I don't like having more than 5 champions in your champ pool as an ADC doesn't really mean anything, in my
Mhm,
opinion. Syndra and Ziggs not count? Oh wait. Oh yeah, that's right. I think when it comes to
yeah,
champion pool depth, I think Okid's the winner of that one. He can play pretty much anything bot lane. We've seen it in the past. He's played the Ziggs, he's played the
yeah.
Syndra, he's played the Cassio, he's played the Mordekaiser, he's played all the standard ADCs, he's played the Jhin. The list goes on and on and on. But
Mhm,
anyways, my point is basically the point of all this is I think Jinner's bot lane is slightly better than ESC's, but I think that slightly is noticeable enough to where I don't think it should be arguable.
okay.
But to be fair, uh,
Mhm,
Jin also has Yaharong and Tana, and
mhm.
if you have Lapis and Gon as your mid laners, then also you have that jungler.
Alright, well, yeah, your solo
It's,
lanes,
it's
and
a
then
little it's a little difficult to look
well,
at.
here's the biggest thing. Like we have something that we kind of agree on that Leah is out of all the junglers. I think he is the one
The
that's
worst.
we think that we think that he's the one that's underperforming the most. He's the one that's
You're
underperforming the
being
most.
too generous, but continue.
Well, yeah. Well, he's the one that's underperforming the most. And you have, I guess, like the person that's supposed to be kind of like the playmate, like not, yeah, the playmaker, the one that's helping set up all the plays. And if
Yeah,
you're kind of doing that and you're able to do that with your bot lane fairly well, in a lot of cases, like fairly slow or fairly consistently. That's what puts me above there. Whereas Rumor and Senon just kind of have they kind of get to fall back a little bit because they have like such a strong top side of the map. Whereas ESC have that kind of like agency to play through their bot lane a lot more so than the other ones.
yeah.
So I guess that's why I put them higher.
Now, what was the last thing we were going to talk about? Do you remember? We were going to talk about one more thing.
We talked about everything. We talked about the only thing we didn't bring up was Breon Blade's faltering, but I thought we were gonna scrap that one.
Oh no, 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 yeah, we were going to. I mean, it is what it is. You have
Yeah.
Citrus over Kroko? Yeah, of course I do. Kroko got benched for a good reason. He's not looking too good.
Yeah.
And so I mean, Citrus on Kane. Citrus on Kane better than Kroko on Lee Sin. Known fact. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Chose a Kane
That's
one trick. I mean, Kroko's at least in one trick. There's no difference. They're basically the same. They just made different champions. Um, I think yeah, that's everything. Are there any questions that anyone had? Any questions at all? Oh, we've been going for almost an hour. Jeez, this is a pretty long episode. Any questions? Anybody at all? Any questions? Any questions? Frosty, I know
Well, I
you
mean,
had some questions.
well. To be fair, we didn't start until like 24 minutes in was when we started the podcast. But last podcast we did lasted like an hour and a half.
Well, yeah, since we had three people though, always lasts longer
Yeah.
when there's three people because you have to have an extra
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's true.
do you think you're seasoned enough role play to teach Drissa and you and actually be good? No, that is too much time I'm
Mm.
not willing to invest.
Mm.
I think that's it.
Well,
Unless
yeah.
Frosty, do you have any questions? Slothy, did you have any questions?
Yeah.
What questions do
Yeah.
you have?
My question to you is, when are we gonna bow down to Prince, the ADC god?
Never.
Never, never. Of course, of course. I mean, I do see us. I do see them
Oh, Frosty
perform a
has a
little bit better.
question. Let's hear it.
All right.
This is Frosty's question will be the one that closes up the podcast. He gets to have the special privilege. Throughout the split, we see some good players with shitty teams and shit players and good teams. That's kind of harsh, but that is, I guess, true. It's very harsh. True. Is this an Eon joke incoming? I bet you this is an Eon joke incoming.
Dude, I already called the Eon joke if it was.
Let's hear it, Frosty. We're waiting on them to type this one out. Take your time.
Just gonna go ahead. All right, here.
Frosty still hasn't typed this question. We're still waiting on that. Oh, in a perfect world, how will the top teams compare if they replace their worst player? Oh, okay. That's actually a pretty good question. So let's go team by team. Let's look back at this tier list.
All right.
All right, let's
So
talk about Austin Spear first. Their top laner. If they replace their top laner with, let's use like first we got to think of like the best. We got to think of like the best free agents for every position and how that would apply.
the
So the
best
best,
free agents for every.
so the best free agent top laner is probably like I'd say Thal. We can just
I
use
think
we can just use the Sotomayor players at every position because they're all free agents except for Cacao. But
yeah.
Tarzan is better than Cacao anyway. But anyway, so like let's say Austin Spear, their weakest link is probably the top lane. If they had Thal in their top lane, I think they don't drop a single game ever the entire year. I think
Mhm.
that just becomes a super team. Jin becomes a little bit more difficult. Their weakest position is ADC, but I don't think an improvement in the ADC position resolves their problems entirely. Like if they put Songy in there, uh, I think that they wouldn't. I mean, no. I would say that they probably. I think it's just the scenario with all the top teams when it comes to Austin Spear and Jin and I guess Runaway. It's hard to tell who their weak link is. Who would you say is the weakest link in Runaway?
Okay, so I think the weakest link in I guess the runaway is just like the team's overall like inexperience right now. I think
Yeah.
that's like the bigger thing right there. I don't think you replace anyone on runaway. I think you get what, if anything, you pick up I mean you pick up someone that's going to kind of like bring the team,
Well,
I guess,
top
like,
lane. You can make an improvement top lane. Thal would be a big
yeah,
like if you put in
yeah,
Thal, big improvement, and you'd
yeah,
have the experience that they wouldn't be
yeah,
making as many mistakes.
yeah,
But does that
yeah,
make them a
that's
better
true.
team? That's the question. Does it make
No,
them a
I don't think it does, but I think
I
picking up
think it would.
Thal as a positional coach would make them a better team.
I hard disagree with that. If you're gonna pick someone up as a positional coach, you might as well pick up a retired player that
Yeah.
like. I
Yeah.
mean, actually, who actually just got hired as a positional coach would be, well, not really. He's the coach of the academy team. Nova is the coach for
Mhm.
Sandbox's academy team now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if you picked up like who would be someone that would be a good positional coach for them? I think you need a player with more like reputable experience than Thal.
Mhm.
If you picked up like hmm, that's difficult. Oh, if you picked up like oh fuck, what's his name? Oh, I feel so bad for not remembering his name. God damn it, I'm gonna have to look it up. I feel so bad for doing this. I feel so bad for doing this, and I'm gonna get roasted really hard whenever I say this player's name. You're gonna be like, "How the fuck did you forget that name?"
Mhm.
Uh,
Hey man, I don't roast. I counter roast. Let's be clear on that one.
hold on 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Wait. Wrong year.
Ugh.
There we go. Ambition. I think Ambition would be a
Ambition.
fantastic positional coach. Core JJ too, but Core JJ's over in NA now.
Mhm.
But if you got somebody with really reputable experience, uh,
Mhm.
Piglet would be. I think Piglet would be a fantastic positional coach because he's literally played almost every position. He's played ADC and mid. Well, I mean that's enough experience. You have the ADC and the solo line experience, but nonetheless, Ole, no, no, no. Putting aside my personal problem that I have with him now today, putting aside that, I still don't think he'd be a good positional coach. I think he'd be a good like assistant coach. Like, I think he'd be a good like.
Uh,
Actually, I think he'd be a good head coach. He'd be like a good like team dad. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't trust his experience enough to where I think he would be a good
Team Dad.
he'd be a good team dad. But anyways, with
Yeah.
that being said, I think that when it comes to Awesome Sphere and Jin they have perfect seasons if they upgrade their weakest league to their best free agent. But when you
Mhm.
get to Runaway, they probably become a first place team, but they don't have a perfect season. When you get to the B tier teams, I think that it makes them more of an A tier team, but it doesn't help them be better than the top three teams. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that, Slothy, or what would you say?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I don't think a lot of them would. I think the top three wouldn't have to really change anything. It's just like just nailing down their play styles.
Well,
So
that wasn't really the question. The question was like if
yeah,
they change
yeah.
their weakest link.
If they change their roster, if they change their weakest link, um, let's see. For one way, it would be top. For Austin Sphere, it'd be top, and then you'd pick up ADC for
Janair.
Jin. So, uh,
Do you think OZ would power up a lot if they got a better support? I think the problem lies
mm,
in I think if they think it would be a more impactful change if they upgraded top lane
mm.
versus if they upgraded support.
I
Or if
agree
they
on that
upgraded
one.
jungle. A jungle upgrade would be massive for that team. Like if they picked
Mhm.
like this would obviously never happen, but if they picked up
Yeah,
Tarzan, like that
yeah,
team becomes like 3 times better. Just because their junglers are good, but they're not good. But anyways, that's it
yeah,
from us, Slothy.
yeah,
Thanks so much for joining us today. We're at the hour mark, so I want to wrap this up. I want to
Mhm.
make this a watchable episode at least for people. I don't want to go like an hour and a half like we did our first episode. But thanks for
Whoa,
joining
whoa,
me,
whoa,
Slothy.
whoa. Oh, yeah, good. you know, glad to be here, man.
Yeah. Anyways,
Glad to be here.
bye bye
Yeah.
everybody. Everybody have a good night.
Peace.